on my corn, you don't love the dog. Eat corn dogs every day. Plus, when my corn dogs, you gon' die today. Eating corn dogs with ketchup mustard face. Yeah, that's some corn dog shit. What's happening?
What's happening? Guess what? Let's do it again.
We had it. No, really? I just that whole freestyle.
Yeah.
Oh, by the way, before we begin, if you're gonna talk into the mic.
Okay.
Wait.
That kind of works. Is the mic gone?
What's happening, guys? Episode 49, Nothing to Lose podcast.
You like that?
Nice intro.
Oh, really?
One right intro.
Hey everybody.
Hey.
I'm Joey.
I'm Tony.
This is Nothing to Lose podcast, and we are joined by somebody very special, very crazy, one and only Ryan Darsey.
Hello.
Hey Ryan.
Hey, what's good?
Hey, so this podcast is brought to you by Corn. No, I'm just kidding. Anyway,
You can say that for the end of the like I think they're like, oh, and now a word from our sponsors.
Yes. Do you like cornbread and hot dogs? Well, do I have a treat for you? Twinkies. No sense. Amazing.
Wow.
So, today, what we want to do is we want to kind of get back to the stuff that we used to talk about back in the day, accurate days. Did you get sound bites?
A little bit.
Oh, hell, we upgrading. The reason why we have Ryan on today is because lately with, some of our fan podcasts and our own... Okay, these sound bites are out of control, goddammit. No, but we've been listening a lot about sexuality, and it kind of piqued our interest. It really piqued my interest. What do you think, Tony?
It piqued your interest so much that you actually responded to my text.
Oh,
So
my
I'm looking forward to it.
Oh, no.
Oh, I am somebody heard you. Hey Ryan, quick question. Does he respond to your text?
No.
Okay.
All right. That's me, and that's me under the bus.
But when he wants your attention, he buzzes.
Oh
shit
yeah,
out of you.
it's like nonstop.
Yeah, like a ping. It's like
Yeah.
he's going back to the BlackBerry days.
My texting is not a stopwatch. Shit don't ever stop.
That's one.
That's actually two if you listen to the accurate days. But sexuality. Ryan is very special because his perspective is something that we haven't heard yet through our brother podcast, any other podcast that we have, our own podcast, but we've never really gotten the gay perspective.
Who's
Ryan?
gay?
Oh shit, are you ain't gay? Oh, hit him with it again. Okay, look, he's going crazy with the sound bites. Oh yeah. Oh, so pretty much, Ryan,
Yes.
your sexuality doesn't define you.
No.
So can you tell us about yourself a bit?
Sure. 29 years old.
You don't have to say that.
Okay.
Where are you from?
I'm from San Diego, California.
Born and raised?
Single.
Oh,
Born and raised?
Born and raised, yeah.
perfect. What else?
Gay.
Oh man, so you're born and raised in San Diego. What part of San Diego did you grow up in?
East County, like El Cajon area.
Oh really?
Yes.
What high school did you attend,
I went
right?
to Granite Hills High School.
Oh.
I believe maybe the same one as you.
Oh Jesus! Yeah. So
You was a senior when you were a freshman, or?
no, he was a senior when I was a junior. He's 1 year more than me. He's 1 year higher than whatever. Anyway, yeah. So I've actually known Ryan. Not since high school. We didn't really kick it in high school, but right
Who
after
would
high
kick
school.
it with you?
Right, yeah.
Everybody.
No.
Everybody. But right after high school is when me and Ryan were in college, and we would actually meet up a lot to go to. What's it called? Not there. No, we would go to the living room.
Yeah.
Yeah, living room. We would get I would get chai tea lattes. He would get, or now we get jasmine tea. Remember that
Jasmine
shit?
tea.
Hell yeah, girl. And then from there we just hit it off. But Ryan's a great guy. I've got some crazy stories that I'm not allowed to tell with Ryan. So
Thank you.
that's especially why we wanted you on, is because I know how crazy you are. You nasty.
A little bit.
You nasty.
Nasty.
No.
Gotta find one of those. But
So, How was it kind of, because East County, for our listeners, if you're international because we're that big, East County is kind of Republican, a little bit closed-minded. So how was it growing up gay in East County?
It was kind of hard. Just being in that kind of environment, a more conservative environment. Someone who realizes they're gay in that kind of area, it's kind of closed off. Doesn't want to showcase that because to them that's wrong. You can't be this way.
Yeah.
And that's why I was in the closet for a while.
When did you come out?
I came out my sophomore year of high school. Parents were cool with it. And it wasn't so much like I was fearful of like telling my parents or that kind of thing. It was more just the area, the society in general. That's kind of what made me kind of stay in the closet.
Because you didn't want to be labeled as like just gay, right? Like you wanted to be Ryan.
Yeah, because in that kind of environment, like that conservative environment, I feel like if you do come out, or someone that does come out in that kind of area, that's what they're looked at as. They're not looked at, oh, Ryan first, and then happens to be gay. They're looked at, oh, this gay kid, that kind of thing.
Interesting. Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. But I mean, your parents are great. Your parents are
Yeah.
totally cool with it. I wouldn't have a shred of doubt that they,
Yeah, they were so both of them were super, super supportive, and my brother as well.
They still are.
Yes, very, very
Yeah,
supportive.
yeah.
Even more so now, which is kind of crazy.
Yeah.
Were you the first one in your family, like on the big picture?
My mom had like 2 gay cousins, but
Everybody has a gay uncle.
right, yeah. But so that was she was kind of exposed to that through there, but yeah, the first one in my like immediate family. So yeah. Yep.
That's awesome.
The only one.
The only one. So I'm gonna ask kind of like a dumb possible trigger question here, but I just want to know because you're not representing all gays. Just a preface, you're representing you, Ryan Darsey.
Yes.
Exactly. So you came out sophomore year of high school, but did you always know you were gay?
Yeah, like there's some people that say like, oh, I've known since I was 5 years old. That wasn't really the case for me. It was more so like when I was 12 or like when I hit puberty, and a lot of my friends, having these feelings for girls and that kind of stuff, and talking about girls, and I just didn't really have that. I was kind of looking more at guys, and I was like, I thought it was kind of maybe a phase, and something I'm just going through, but realized it kind of wasn't.
Yeah. Did you ever, like, since this is a sexual podcast here, did you ever experiment before you actually came out, and then you were like, oh, that's it, like,
Yeah.
that is for me?
Yeah, in 8th grade. Yeah, actually, that was my first homosexual experience.
All right.
And then I kind of realized, I thought actually though I still had like feelings for girls, like emotionally, like I had girlfriends and that kind of thing. Even in high school, I had girlfriends. But yeah, so that's why I thought, just maybe I'm bisexual, but definitely not.
Is there such thing as being bisexual?
I think so. Yeah, I used to not believe in bisexuality, but being more involved, like in the gay community.
Jen's like, hell yes!
Being more involved in the gay community, I've definitely met people that are definitely bisexual.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, I'm super fluent with the gay community.
Super fluent.
Super.
Too fluent.
Oh, super
You
fluent.
didn't win that award.
Right.
I didn't win that award, goddammit, but I came in 3rd.
Oh.
Yeah.
That's not
What
bad.
award?
So I was actually up for a Nikki Award, which is like the Hillcrest.
Yeah.
Yeah. You know, but maybe somebody listening doesn't know. Damn, cut me off.
Oh yeah, that's
Yeah,
we know.
we know. Alright, moving on.
So the Nikki Awards, they were actually they're like the gay Oscars for San Diego LGBT community, and I was what is that called? Nominated for Straight Ally. I came in 3rd.
Out of 3.
3rd out of 3.
No, this category actually had like the most people.
Wow.
I came in 3rd.
Nice.
Yeah.
So, like, some categories though.
I know. I got beat up by some lady.
Mm.
And I think that the only reason why she won is because she had that damn, stand with us with the damn, rainbow flag on her profile pic, and that's it.
Could have changed it.
God damn
Could have changed it for that whole month.
If only I would have changed that shit, just, ally. Then maybe.
Maybe you won.
We had like some 20 people. That's not bad.
Yeah.
You got some love. Some
I
people
didn't-
love you. Not just your mom.
I didn't win anything though. I think that the winners won like some gift card to. Some
Applebee's?
food. Yeah, I'll take it, bitch. Are you kidding me? They got the mini corn dog. Jesus. So, going back to you, because this is about you.
Yes.
that's what he was waiting for. He's like, damn, like, I don't care
Right,
about you.
right, right.
Fuck,
Straight
fuck
ally
you,
award.
dude.
Oh.
You got third place. You win shit.
Wrap it up. But yeah, so have you encountered any opposition to, like, you know, have you been blatantly discriminated against, or, you know, somebody called you like the F-bomb?
Yeah. I've been in high school. I had a gay best friend in high school, and there's a bunch of times where we were called faggot and that kind of thing, and yeah, there wasn't. And the biggest thing is not even being called that word. It's just in high school, it's like walking through the halls and just kind of waiting for someone to say it. You know, that was like the biggest fear. It wasn't that they actually said it. It was just that fear that someone's not going to accept you, that you're walking through, you know, somewhere that's supposed to be a safe place, you know, for students, and just kind of you're waiting for someone to like call you that word. That's the scary part, actually, than being just called it.
Was it like a daily occurrence for somebody to drop that on you?
Not really on me, because one of the things that I think when I came out, a lot of people didn't really expect it, so they were actually really supportive, like my friends and my kind of core groups. I didn't really get a lot of bullying, which some people did in our high school, but yeah, it's just that fear, I think, of just, you know, you're waiting for someone to say something, which I think that can be even more fearful than just having someone, you know, call you that.
I mean, I bet that caused like a bunch of like severe anxiety.
Yeah,
just waiting for that. Yeah.
Yeah, because school's supposed to be a place, you know, you're supposed to focus on your studies, you're supposed to, you know, have fun, your friends.
Theoretically, but
like, you shouldn't have to worry about that kind of stuff.
We've all been through it. You know, I'm actually not even gay, and I was called, you know, faggot a whole bunch because I was pretty.
Yeah.
Still am.
Well,
still am.
looks fade.
Yeah, Coronax it forever. So.
Wish I had a soundboard ready for that one. Shit.
Boing. Other than that, you know. Oh wait, I think. What does that say? No. Yeah. Yeah. That's not important. What do you like to do for fun, right? And then we'll get back to you growing up, but.
I like hanging out with my friends. I like going to music festivals. That's a big part of my life. I love music.
Yeah.
So last music festival you've been to?
Last music festival.
Not Astroworld, Tony. I know you're looking for that answer.
No,
you could have said Cross. Cross is like a
no,
couple.
I've been across. I liked it. It just gets a little packed and people are kind of. But probably Desert Heart is the last music festival.
He's all about that hippie shit.
That's my favorite one. I've done it. This year will be my 7th one.
You see
So.
damn hand fingers.
Yeah.
Yeah, we know. But so. Why do you think that people are so like growing up, going in high school, and like this is from like the gay perspective, so
Yeah.
I expect this to be a good answer. But
I'll try my best.
being gay is natural. Like it's already been proven that there's like a gay gene. Like you don't choose it. You were born this way, Gaga, and you know. Why do you think that people are so afraid and like so open to vocalize their opposition for being gay? Because I mean, I would assume that people would be more likely to yell out the F-bomb than the N-bomb.
Right. Yeah.
Right. So why do you think it's so easy for people to just like be like gross?
I mean, one of the main things is that people are always afraid of what they don't know, and so I think one of the big things is a lot of people are just uneducated, and it's funny. It's not funny, but it's like when people say that it's a choice. It's like you don't just wake up one day and realize, you know, my life's not hard enough. You know, what can I do to get discriminated more? You know, I'm gonna be gay. Like you don't wake up and you feel that way. You know, it's definitely I feel biological and you know, so that's the thing is I don't understand when people say like, oh, you know, you chose that lifestyle. No, I did not choose to be called a faggot and get made fun of. You know, and that kind of thing. So I think once more people get more educated on the issues, and I think also too, it's like when someone in your family or your friend comes out, you know, I think that helps change hearts and minds because it's like, well, that's someone I love, you know. So I think that, yeah.
How was the whole in high school dealing with that, but like out of high school when you're in the environment, the working field, and somebody doesn't know you're gay, and then they find out, like how was that reaction?
Usually it's pretty good. Like, or usually it's like more surprise, but it's not really negative. I haven't had really in the working environment. I don't really like, you know, come in and be like act like, you know, a gay parade when I come into work, but like
you don't.
No, I wish.
You
but,
don't.
I'm just kinda, at work I kind of just like keep to myself and do my job, but
You like that damn video of that guy making copies and he's like, "Move,
I'm
I'm gay."
But yeah, no, I don't go out of my way to let people know that I'm gay, but if they ask me or they find out, they're usually pretty positive about it. I think, there's laws in place nowadays that protect, people in the workplace.
Funny you should mention that. Me and Ryan actually worked together at a law office, and I was gay by association because I used to hang out with him. So,
It's always that.
Yeah.
It's always some
Yeah,
association.
it's always that. It wasn't kissing behind the garbage. No, but there was a rumor going around that like I was gay just because I used to kick it with this guy. So
That rumor still goes on.
Yeah.
I mean, yeah.
To this day.
Yeah.
I get the text messages.
Every time I see my mom, she's like, "Anything you want to tell me?
You want to come out now? It's okay, Turtle.
Come out of your shell. Just be you." Yeah.
That's how everybody. You have nothing to lose.
I have nothing to lose. So here's my announcement. No, but just going back to that. So you faced a lot of opposition, but not to get a little dark in light of this great conversation we're having, but many people have sort of like committed suicide and ended on their own terms because of the torture and the tormenting by other people and the social outcasting. So how did you survive?
I mean, that's one thing too, is I faced, something I haven't really talked about with people, and I don't really talk about that much, but, I faced severe depression in middle school, and I always thought, I never really knew what it kind of was stemming from, and I would go see therapists and stuff, and a lot of them would kind of ask, "Oh, are you gay? Is it because of this?" and stuff, and I wasn't really even out then, so I just totally dismissed the question, like, "No, I'm not gay," and looking back on it now, I think it had to do with that. Not so much that I didn't come from a family that wasn't supportive or church or something like that. It was more so that just a societal aspect of it, that was something that was looked down upon. So I think that kind of stemmed, my depression kind of stemmed from that. And yeah, there was, for me, it was, I think depression's a whole other issue too, is that it's like a disease. I think once you're depressed and that kind of thing, it kind of overtakes you. You don't think clearly, that kind of thing. So there was moments where I, contemplated suicide and that kind of thing, because I felt like that was the only option, that was the only way to get out. And thankfully realized it wasn't, and I, kind of got out. I obviously got out of that, and glad I didn't do, anything to myself, or because the effect that would have on other people.
What helped you get out? Like, who's in your corner or what?
Actually, because you do feel alone, you feel isolated,
right.
And it's just kind of putting yourself, even though you don't feel like it because you are depressed, putting yourself in like positive situations, surrounding yourself with people that make you laugh, or your family that's a positive influence, or doing something like that you like, that's fun, So even though you might not feel like, oh, I'm depressed, I don't want to go out of the house, I don't want to do this, just forcing yourself kind of to put yourself in those situations and being around positive people, I think that helps tremendously, actually.
Yeah. Of course, Yeah.
Like a Dr. Phil episode.
Yeah.
Sure, right.
No, well, I mean, like, this is kind of a real issue, and it's
Yeah.
2019.
It's an issue that people don't admit until they went through it.
Yeah.
Why do you think that's the case, though?
Well, why isn't the gay struggle important? I'm just gonna ask that question. Why isn't it important?
Who said it
Well, it's
wasn't?
important to us.
A lot of only to you. Only to you.
Well, I think it's important. I think people like you, it's obviously important, straight allies. But I think a lot of it stems from people's hardcore religious beliefs. That they're raised to think a certain way, or that it's bad because of their religion, and they hold their religion in such high regard.
You know what I think it is? I'm gonna drop my 2 cents.
Yeah.
I think that because being gay is defined by like your sexual attraction, and anything having to do with sex is automatically stigmatized, right?
Exactly.
So people think because sex is a choice all the time, right? So you're choosing to have sex with a guy when you're a guy, which isn't the case, because there's so much more than just like these sexual interactions between a guy and a guy. It's more like, I love this guy. I have a chemical bond, with
For attraction,
with this guy, it's more than just, oh, I really want to have sex with that guy. It's like, I love him as much as you love your wife.
Yeah.
And this is my partner, this is my, whatever you want to call
Or
it.
even if even if it is like a one night stand or something like that, like it's because.
Here we go. Goddamn.
No, I'm just saying it's because.
Well, in that case.
I'm just saying because it's because I'm attracted to that certain sex. I'm not attracted. I mean, I think females are beautiful. Like girls are pretty, but I don't want to have sex with them.
But you do.
No.
Yeah, you do.
I experimented.
Yeah, here we go. Yeah, here we go. Here we go.
I saw the light.
Oh shit. Okay. Do you have any
What's
questions?
behind door number 1? Well, that was my question. Like, why does he think people like that face depression take so long to come out? Like, why did you not tell anybody, or why did you?
Yeah, I think it's just everyone has their own journey with that in coming out, and that's another thing too. No one should be forced to come out, and
Right.
no one should be outed. Everyone, it takes time, and if you have, like I did, luckily I had a very supportive family and stuff. That becomes easier to do, but still, it was still hard for me to actually come to terms with it, and tell my parents, and even though knowing in the back of my head that they would be supportive. But yeah, everyone's on their own journey with that, and then it must be completely hard, for someone who comes from a very, let's say, homophobic, crazy right-wing Christian background to let people know in their family if that's the way they believe, because those people are, kicked out of their homes, they're, become homeless, like, it's not always an easy thing.
Okay. I've got a couple of gay stereotypes that I want you to agree, disagree, and then give me an explanation.
Okay.
All right.
Right.
All gay men are good at fashion.
Definitely disagree now.
Okay, explain.
Even me sometimes, I'll admit, I'm out of the house with like sweatshorts on, flip flops, a ratty t-shirt, like so. That's not true. I mean, I think that it's definitely a stereotype that all gay men are good at that. There's a lot of gay men fashion designers and that kind of stylists and stuff. But no, I've seen that been able to be disproven numerous times, even with myself.
All gay men wear glitter and rainbows and unicorns and all that stuff.
Definitely not. Have you been to PEX?
You asking me? Of course I have.
That's good, George.
PEX
You
is
can get on that list for no reason.
Mm-hmm. You again?
PEX is a gay bar in San Diego. It's more caters to the bear crowd, which is more kind of a burly, manly type, and I don't really see too many of them wear glitter and unicorn.
Okay. Being gay means you can't be manly.
Definitely not. I can go to PEX. big plug for PEX. But no, yeah, I've seen there's tons of burly ass like gay guys who like I've definitely seen you don't have to be all feminine. That's just one type of thing. Subset.
All gay men are incapable of maintaining a relationship.
Just because I'm single, Joe. No, I don't think so. That's so true. I have friends that are in gay relationships. They've been married for 10 years and or longer, and I don't think that's true.
Okay.
I think it comes back to kind of what you said before. It's a lot of it because of being gay. Like there's a lot of there's a sexual kind of sense to it because gay people, I think, historically have been oppressed sexually for so long, so that there is this big kind of like they want to show that, or that's more like thrown out there, and I think that's where those kind of things stem from. It's like, oh, they can't be monogamous, they can't, they're all they care about is sex and that kind of thing. So, or they want to show their bodies and that kind of thing. But I think historically it comes from being oppressed kind of sexually, and now that there is this kind of liberation, they that people want to express that. And I think how you said it is a taboo kind of sexuality. Even just in America, it's a very taboo kind of thing.
Okay. If you are straight, every gay man automatically wants to sex you up.
Definitely not. And I love this one because it's like there's some guys that come in and they're like, oh, guys are gonna hit on me and stuff like that. I'm like, one, you should be so lucky. Two, definitely that's not the case. Like, I mean, if a straight guy, good-looking straight guy, goes to a gay bar, I mean, yeah, like he might get hit on and that kind of thing, but I think from my experience, if you tell someone like, hey man, like I'm actually straight, I'm flattered, or something like that, we're not going to waste our time with that. We're going to go on to the next one and find someone that's actually gay.
It's audible calls. They call it in like, hey, he's out.
He just turns around.
No, not this one. Not this one. Yeah, we're not going to waste our time with that.
Perfect.
I'm going to want to try to get someone to like take home. I'm not going to waste my time with some straight guy.
Every gay man is a bottom.
Definitely not true. I'm an example of that. I'm not a bottom.
Are you?
I don't consider myself a bottom. No.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Okay.
Are you?
Am I? Well, I mean,
A little bit.
you asking me or drunk me? 'Cause I can get
Those two different issues.
Are you high right now? Do you nervous?
What's the rest of
How
that?
much money you got?
$69. Well, I'm like really well versed with like the gay community,
Very
but
Too
shit.
versed.
My verbiage here is awful. But Tony,
69 verse.
you're not really, you know,
What?
like familiar.
I have a gay uncle. I
So
have a gay uncle. I have a gay cousin. I'm familiar with it. It's been in my family, but as far as you're familiar, like hanging out with them and going out places, no.
so then this is perfect. What are some stereotypes that you've heard that Ryan can either agree or disagree with?
Besides the ones you said,
Yeah.
that's all the stereotypes I hear. You know that everyone thinks that they wear glitter and then they're all buffy, and then some of them they're not all in good shape. Like you know, some gay guys are just average looking, or some are just don't care, or the fashion. Some are great at dressing, some are not.
Mm-hmm.
But there's a lot. I think those are the top three that people think about when they think about it. And they think they're always happy, which you don't understand. Like, everyone has the same struggle and the same attitude. They have their bad days and their good days.
Interesting. Would you be open to going to a gay bar and like having fun?
They've gone.
Oh damn.
I thought you were asking, would you be open to being gay?
We've
Would
gone.
you be open
I've
to
gone
being
with
gay?
you.
Yeah. Where did we go? Riches?
No, we went to across the street from it.
Gossip?
Gossip Girl. We went to Gossip Girl. Your sister was there.
Okay. Yeah.
Mhm.
Fun place. Yeah.
Tense.
I think that the most fun that I've ever had.
And it's the cheapest drinks too.
Yeah. And strong.
Oh,
Yeah.
strong. That was strong.
Like the most fun clubs I've been to have been gay clubs.
Mm-hmm.
I wonder why. Because the atmosphere. There's no more tension. The tension's way less.
Yeah.
Everyone's there there to have a good time. Nobody's like, oh, look at me, look at my outfit. It's just more like, hey, I'm here to dance and have a good time.
Yeah. Yeah. And the worst times that I've had going out have been at PB.
Right, yeah. Everyone's looking for a fight.
Yeah. You know, I'm definitely not about that.
Every time I go to PB, I see at least one fight.
And then every time we've gone to North Park recently, it's almost been a fight. Even North Park is getting very bro-y.
Yeah.
You know?
It's alright though, okay. You missed out last.
You've traveled
Mhm.
other American cities.
Yes.
Have you?
Oh yeah, it was a culture like.
Yeah.
It's different. It's not, like everywhere kind of has, I think, their little like kind of gay area and that kind
Seattle's is the best.
I've never been to Seattle. I've always wanted to go to Seattle.
Yeah.
I heard it's fun. One of my good friends went up
It's
there.
like a whole section, like even was it the walkway or like the crosswalk? The crosswalk was all like rainbowed out, and the atmosphere is just like. I
We
think
got
we're-
that shit in front of my house.
No, but we
Front-
like
front door.
these were like a lot of streets. Like you have here just all hillcrest. Like this was like
It was like on
two sides of
yeah.
hillcrest. Like hillcrest on steroids.
Yeah.
You've been to San Bernardino, right?
Yes.
What do you think about Castro?
I love it.
Yeah.
They're really open. It's a bigger area too. A lot of gay bars and stuff. I went actually for their gay pride.
Oh, that's awesome.
Yeah,
That'd be
that was
fun. Yeah, that'd be fun. Was anything like Sense8? You know, everybody's on the hill and.
No, I mean there's a lot of nude people because they allow that. But
Hey.
the cool thing about theirs is too is their pride. It doesn't really cost money. You kind of when you go in like you just make a donation to like their whatever.
Oh, so they don't charge like San Diego
No,
Pride?
no, yeah. But then I think because I think they found by asking for that like they get more money actually in a sense by having just like a set ticket price.
Mhm.
And people are like, oh wow, since it's free, like, I'm gonna donate a lot more. So, but yeah, it was crazy. It was pretty.
It's like when you go to a bar and you get a cheap drink, you tip more.
Yeah, exactly.
Same mindset.
Actually, yeah.
If you
There's
have
no
cash,
cover
if
at the
you have
bar.
cash,
Yeah.
Actually, yeah, that makes sense. If I'm getting a discounted drink, I'm gonna be like, oh, okay, I'm gonna slide you a couple, and I'm spending the same amount of money
Right.
as if it was a
yeah, like I'm getting taken care of. You feel more homey,
homie.
homie. Biggie.
So,
Can't you see?
other than that, you've been very active. Like since I've known you, you've been active for advocating gay rights and not only like fighting the political battle, but being humanitarian and helping out people who needed it.
Yeah.
How can people get involved with that? If they want to.
There's a bunch of ways. Usually every big city or major city has a LGBT community center, and that'd be a good resource to go through them. I know ours in San Diego, they do a lot of services for different people, especially low income, homeless. They do, I know they put on things where it's free HIV testing and STD testing.
Wow.
So yeah, there's a bunch of resources. So if you live in like a major city, you most likely have a gay and lesbian center, which would be a good resource to check out.
Awesome.
And then you can visit Joey.
And then
You visit Joey, front desk.
How can I help you? Oh shit.
Do you see all that though, living around there?
No, I definitely
What's
do.
your perspective as a gay guy? I mean, as a straight guy.
Cats out of the bag.
Cats out of the bag, man. After all these years of lying to people, shit, I played myself.
Idiots.
We live, no edit.
No,
Yeah.
Straight, right there.
No.
not straight.
Okay, right there. No, my
At the 30-minute mark.
some of the best people I've ever met have been gay.
Besides me.
Besides, you're not gay?
I'm happy.
Okay. But some, and I also think some of the most misunderstood and underprivileged people have been gay. People who have creative minds, people who are very tech savvy and stuff like that. I feel like if their company or organization or hiring process doesn't limit them, they limit themselves because they don't have high self-esteem.
Right.
I know somebody who's one of the best writers I've ever, listened to, or
What was
read.
that?
Who's a bird?
Look at that name, Squirt. Doing a squirt like a. No, but he's got one of the most creative, beautiful minds, and he writes the best prose.
Shout him out.
He can't. He always writes anonymous.
Okay.
He can't.
Alright.
But
Anonymous at.
your plug is Joey's daddy. His self-esteem is shit. It's shit. He's been tormented his whole life for being gay. Not to discredit him, but he has been sort of flamboyant with it. Kind of put a big target on his back, and he was an easy target. That doesn't go without saying that he's one of the most brilliant people I've ever met, but he just can't
Shake that.
exactly. He's very second guesses, self-doubt, all these things that limit him in pursuing his career or his goal of being a writer.
Yeah.
And I think that's one of the most disastrous things.
Kind of holding him back.
Yeah, like he's like you said, he can't shake it. He always thinks he's less than good enough. And
Don't you think we all think that though? In some way?
to a level, but has anybody actually verbalized, and like over and over again beaten into your skull, like you are a piece of shit.
No.
You should die.
Right.
Go kill yourself.
Yeah.
Yeah, so like listening to that however many hundreds of times from people who used to bully him.
Yeah, that'll take a toll.
Some of it starts to stick, man.
Yeah.
You
start thinking it.
Yeah. But again, we're just talking from the gay perspective. Other people get bullied for other reasons as well, and it's not cool. So you don't have to be gay to go through that. You could be anything else, and people will still find a reason to hate you.
Kids are mean.
Kids are mean. Adults are.
Adults
also,
are worse.
Yeah.
Adults are worse. Dude, I got out of my house like on Monday morning. They had cones on like 4 of the cars, and then this is fucking retarded. Bro. Like 4 o'clock in the morning, there's like these guys just fucking around, just putting shit on people's cars. Like there's a sign like that can scratch a car.
Right, yeah.
On top of it, like.
Oh, like those metal signs.
Yeah, the metal signs that say no parking, and then the cones are on there on all the cars.
Joey's like, sorry about that.
No, they placed them on their car.
Yeah, it was on top of my car, and then.
Did it scratch?
No, I had the cone. Luckily, I had the cone. I didn't have a sign. But then I looked around, like I'm still like trying to wake up. I'm like, fuck that is.
Were the construction people doing that, or just like some?
It had to be somebody drunk because it was St. Patty's the day before. So somebody on Sunday walking home.
On the Irish.
Oh yeah, you're Irish.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Very much so.
Yeah. Oh, Lucky Charms. Magically delicious. You like that? You like that?
Rated on a 1 to 10. How bad was that?
That wasn't bad.
That wasn't
Like
that.
5.
That wasn't terrible. Cool. Tell me a crazy story.
What kind of crazy story?
Give me a gay crazy, like just the gayest thing.
I'll give, okay. I'll give you a crazy gay hookup story that I got.
Ooh, Lord, here we go.
This is all like 100% true. So there's an app called Grindr.
Oh, there it is.
Yes. If you're not familiar. It's pretty much a gay hookup app, and so there's this guy that I hooked up with from Grindr, and kind of never responded because it kind of was just kind of that. It was a one-time thing. And so I actually blocked him, ended up blocking him because I was like, okay, I don't want to talk to him anymore, that kind of thing. And so he actually, turns out he created a fake profile with a different person's picture, kind of lured me into an area of North Park, kind of where the Albertsons used to be, like over there. So I'm in my car, and he says, no, just wait in your car, I'll come out and get you till I take you to my house or whatever. I'm like, okay, that's kind of weird, but whatever. So I'm sitting there in my car, and he's kept asking me questions like, what kind of car is it? Like, blah, blah, blah. I'm like, what the hell is one of these questions for? So all of a sudden, like 5 minutes later, this car just screeches up, pulls up right next to me, kind of blocks me in where I can't get out. And this guy he goes off on me like crazy, like, you blocked me, blah, 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 like, I thought I meant more to you, like, and like, it was definitely just a hookup kind of situation before. There was no like talking, dating, or anything like that. Blocks me. I kind of get my car to weasel out, and I get out, and I'm going through like North Park like crazy, trying to lose this guy. I finally go and park in like a different parking lot. I call my friend. My friend's like, call the cops. I'm like, no, it's kind of petty to call. And then I'm kind of fearing for my life at the same time. And so then I call my other friend. He lives in North Park. He's like, dude, just come over and like stay at my place for a little bit, and cool down and stuff. I'm like, okay, fine. So I go to his place. It's actually not too far from here, and so I stayed at his place for an hour. And so I'm okay, it's probably good now. So I go outside, and my car's kind of parallel parked on like a hill. And so I get in my car, I start my car, all of a sudden I hear, this car like pulls up, blocks me in. And at this point, it's the same guy. At this point, I'm just like, this pisses me off now. So like, I rolled down my window, and I started yelling at him. I'm like, dude, I was like, you knew it was just a hookup. Like, there's nothing more than that. We didn't even talk. Like, it was kind of like one of those things. And he finally just kind of backed down and like ended up leaving me because I was literally blocked in and I didn't know what to do.
Jesus
so
Christ.
Talk about like stage 5 cleaner.
Talk about it.
Jeez.
Oh, God.
Yeah,
What's the name?
I really remember.
Oh, okay. I was gonna shout him out at him right now.
Jeez. Hopefully it's not listening. But yeah, that was pretty. It was kind of crazy, but also just like super kind of scary at the same time.
Interesting.
So that's that hookup culture for you.
Interesting.
Yeah. So be careful out there.
Speaking of hookup culture, because that is kind of a stigma with the gay community. Why do you think that is?
I don't know. Again, I think it goes back to like kind of the sexuality thing is, kind of like that being oppressed as like a community, having to kind of for like years. I'm talking like throughout like from like the 20s, history, being forced and being oppressed to kind of stay in the closet, not be who you are, that kind of thing. And then there was this kind of like sexual liberation kind of thing that has happened within the gay rights movement. And I think the fact that nowadays we kind of are proud about it. We're not proud of who we are. We're proud of who we are, and I think it kind of just goes with that, is that there's like this kind of hookup, kind of, which there is. There's definitely is. I mean, there's hookup with every community.
Right.
Straight, gay, doesn't really matter. But I think that that's just another stereotype. I think is that we just no gay person can be monogamous or that kind of thing. But it's like that's not true. There's just like with straight people. There's tons of straight guys or girls that hook up and no one says anything.
What are you?
What?
Like, I mean, would you would you actually settle down with somebody?
Yeah, I'm open to it. Right now, I'm perfectly fine being single, and I think I've kind of gotten to a place where it's like, I always had that thing in my mind, like, I want a husband and a kid and a white picket fence and that kind of thing. But now it's like I've kind of accepted the fact that those things might not happen, but I'm okay with that. And if they do, like, even better, I'm okay with that as well. So.
Are you ever in a long-term relationship?
Yeah, I've been in like 2, and I liked it, but again, it's just relationships are hard, just in general. I think it doesn't matter who you are, like gay or straight.
Yeah.
Relationships are a lot of work, and right now I'm at a point in my life where I'm kind of getting everything else situated, my job, and getting back in the gym and that kind of stuff. So there's stuff I want to work on just internally and personally before I kind of want to jump into something. So
I can appreciate that.
yeah.
I can appreciate that. I feel like, bettering yourself
Mhm.
in the end is going to better whoever you choose
Yeah.
to spend your life with.
Because if you're not happy with yourself, like and you jump into a relationship, that relationship's kind of meant to. I think it's kind of gonna go south.
Yeah. Is there a lot more pressure on the gay community because there is that stigma about like being fashionable and like
Fit and
yeah.
that kind of. Oh yeah, I think so. I think there is. I mean, I think it's starting to be like also kind of with like the straight community too, like but especially the gay community because you kind of see like all those stereotypes of gays, like they're all fit and buff and have abs, and it's so as someone who is gay, you kind of just that's always perpetuated within I think advertisement or that kind of stuff. So you kind of strive, to fit that mold, that body image
Stereotype.
mold, yeah, and that's why like it's funny because like they'll have funny like stereotypes too about gays in the gym all the time and that kind of thing. And
Well, I mean, I do work out at 24 Hillcrest, so I see the same 5 people
All the
every.
time, yeah.
Jesus Christ, yeah.
But there is definitely I think an emphasis on body image in the gay community. Like even like those apps on like Grindr, they'll have people actually say like no fats, no this, no chubs, no no skinny, no tweaks. People. It's funny to me like that kind of aspect in the gay community because we've been discriminated against for so long. So seeing that discrimination within our own community is kind of like, what the hell are you doing? Like really?
Yeah.
Like,
Mhm.
yeah, I hate that kind of stuff. So.
You just sort of dropped a bomb, and there's like some gay diction here that I want to go over.
Mhm.
What is a twink?
A twink usually I think it's described as more of like a skinnier, effeminate gay man.
So like the stereotypical gay.
Or younger, yeah.
Okay.
Younger. I think it's twinks more I think like 18 to like 25 or 18. Yeah, I think that's kind of where.
And they have a specific body type?
Usually, I think they're usually like what people as like skinnier, more feminine. Yeah.
Are there levels to this shit?
Like what kind of like twink 1, twink 2?
No, like I mean.
Well, after 25, you better be a pro.
Yeah, so like what other types of gays are there?
There's bears.
What's a bear?
Bears usually I think more of an.
Yeah, damn it, we gotta go to pegs. You gotta find
Right, yeah,
pegs.
bears. Bear's more I think more of an older man who's kind of either stockier or beefier kind of guy. Sometimes like hairy.
People
More,
into that?
I think more masculine. Yeah.
Hairy.
Hairy.
Okay, so then what's in between? Because that's kind of two extremes.
Like an otter.
What's an otter?
That's like you.
Oh.
Chirp.
What's an otter? I don't know what otters noises they make.
I don't think otter.
Yeah. What's an otter?
Otter's I think not so much a twink but not a bear. So it's like they're kind of I think more thinner, more toned and hairy.
Nice.
Basically like a hairier, I think more older twink.
Okay, so like
Twink develops too.
Right?
yeah, so the evolutions are coming together here. Oh, interesting. And people fancy out of the 3 which one the most?
I don't know. I think it's kind of all kind of. I remember when I kind of came out, like there was this whole thing about like being a twink. Like I was kind of really I think sought after. Like just from my perspective, looking in. And nowadays I think it's pretty even with it amongst everything. Because there's guys I meet that really like kind of bigger, hairier guys, and there's guys I meet that like skinny, younger like gay guys. So
Yeah.
I think it's kind of all kind of it's kind of pretty much an even playing field now.
Yeah, I think that it's amazing how much the gay community shapes culture in regards to fashion and dialogue. Like there's so many catchphrases everybody says that originate with gay people, like on a daily basis.
Or even look at like RuPaul's Drag Race.
Oh,
how much that has shaped things people say. Like how people say things.
Mm-hmm.
It's fun.
So I mean, like there's a million examples of things that the gay community has given us that we've just sort of taken for granted and then made our own.
What's the athletic type called? What's the gym bro?
Just
jog.
Yeah, probably just jog.
That would make sense considering the underwear. Yeah.
Jog straight.
Yeah.
No, jog straight.
Yeah.
No, I don't have a
There's
jock strap.
several. I've seen them.
Oh, yeah,
2 of them I bought for his Christmas present.
Oh, yeah. And my bar mitzvah, so.
Nice and comfortable, huh?
You like that?
You need it for those tight ass jeans, man.
Damn it, you know, this is the only ones I can afford.
I get that.
Just saying, I gotta jump up and down to put them on. Yeah. Straight guys, they're like, oh.
Yeah,
They're like, oh, are you an ass or a tits man? What is the equivalent for gay people?
I think maybe probably an ass or
Dick
dick
above.
man.
Are you a dick man?
I don't know. I think there's different things people look at.
Yeah.
So definitely ass is one of them, I think, and the bulge. And people like guys look at fluff. Like, there's that whole culture thing around like gray sweatpants. Like,
Yeah.
big community, like guys wearing gray, like So that's kind of
And you have a pair of gray space.
I do, yeah.
Several.
A couple of them got a couple stains on it, so.
We're gonna the Hillcrest 24 hour.
Right.
So, what else? Okay, like this has been good getting gay perspective from you. But I mean, there's been a couple of situational questions that have arisen through other podcasts and our own that need sort of the attention that you can give it.
Sure. What?
I'll add them.
So, a straight man calling another straight man attractive. Why is that automatically deemed as gay? Yeah.
I don't know. I think it has to go back kind of how you were saying before with like this taboo kind of thing we have on sexuality in America, where other countries aren't like that. Like I visited, Italy, and the affection that like 2 heterosexual men can like show each other, they kiss, they hug, they do all kinds, and no one bats an eye. I think it's beginning to seem a little less like here in America, but yeah, no, there's just like this that men aren't supposed to be intimate with each other, yeah, and I don't know why that is, because a lot of other countries aren't like that. So
Yeah.
I think it goes back to like what you said. There is a taboo thing on sexuality and or masculinity, too. Like that's gay. You hug your friend, guy friend that's gay. It's like no, like that's just why can't two men like?
Why can't 2 bros hug it out?
Why can't 2 bros have sex?
Oh shit! That's another level.
No,
Jumping the gun on that.
But yeah, I think it goes back to kind of what you said. That there is this taboo thing on that, or it's looked at I think more as like less masculine too. I think that's.
What about the taboo, like the straight guy always hating on the gay guy because the gay guy has all the girlfriends?
Ooh,
That's the thing. Like
you were a living embodiment of that at one point, weren't you?
A little bit, but I think that's the thing too. Is like that's one of the reasons I think in high school, like a lot of maybe guys that were homophobic, whatever, didn't really mess with me is because me and my other gay friend in high school, like we were friends with all the really popular like pretty girls.
Yeah.
And
I definitely played that wrong, but I should have been friends with
You
you.
should be gay.
and so they kind of like they never messed with us because they would always want to get like with those girls. So I think one thing too is like that's another thing I think that we're straight men. I think to benefit having gay a gay friend. Maybe it's kind of a stereotype, but gay friends, we have a lot of girlfriends too. So or like to, going to a gay
It's
club.
not as intimidating.
Yeah.
You have a gay friend, he's gonna bring a little bit of
You're a
girls.
wingman.
Yeah, exactly.
It's interesting. Another weird question: is it possible for like a gay man to be successful in like a professional sense?
I think so. I mean, there's lots of.
Can you give me an example?
Other
Other than like musics and dancing and stuff like that, like something.
I've had friends that are all in all kinds of different industries, and I have a best friend who he's successful. He was successful in his industry, and that was like construction, which is one of the most kind of like you feel like kind of.
Was he part of the village people? He's the one with the construction hat.
but he was in an industry I think that by definition like stereotypically is very macho and he was he's super successful and I think it just depends I think but I think you can be successful do anything you want to do.
I don't think they have a problem being successful.
Yeah.
Honestly.
Gay people actually have the most disposable
Income.
Yeah.
Prada. Nothing but prana touches this.
They're smarter with their money. They just
Well, because they ain't got no kids. So
that's true.
That's true.
speaking
Some
of
them.
yeah, speaking of, do you think
And
that's
double
possible for
income.
like a gay couple to raise a
Yeah.
kid
Oh, yeah.
adequately?
Yeah, definitely. And there's studies that have been done actually that have shown that kids actually have their happiness levels and that kind of stuff are even better sometimes in a gay in gay parents, because we were denied that for so long. Gay people not being able to adopt kids, not being able to have kids, and I think that kind of goes to them wanting to have some people wanting to have kids so bad. And I think it's like, so when they finally did, they create such a loving and kind of carrying home for them. And,
Yeah, they were finally given the privilege, and
Yeah.
they didn't take that for granted.
Yeah,
Is what you're
exactly.
saying. Yeah.
Exactly.
Huh. So I'm asking all these bullshit questions just because I want the perspective. Like I have my own opinions,
Mm-hmm.
and my
Nobody
opinions
cares.
are all very well. Jen cares. I just want you to know.
He's lying to you.
But
I love it.
I've been very
I love
okay.
I love it.
I've been
I
very
love you.
Tony.
I love it. Thank you.
That was gay.
Breaking
No,
stereotypes.
breaking down walls.
Breaking stereotypes.
No, but I've been very pro-gay pretty much my whole life. I've never really had a problem with gay people, and then I actually embraced them, and I've attended Pride every year since 2009, right?
I'm gonna be a drunk ass.
Oh, Jesus Christ, I got the damn photos. Oh, when I was 19 years old, hopped the fence to one of the bars, and then had like 8 adios MFers, and
All downhill from
puking
there.
up blue and just pass out on the sidewalk. It was terrific. But I was
What
in
a
it.
time to be alive.
What a time. But believe it or not, ladies and gentlemen, I didn't get sexually molested when I was drunk in a gay bar. Breaking down stereotypes, breaking down walls, breaking down walls. Huh? No, like, people are dumb.
Because I didn't see that.
People, yeah, because Ryan was running late.
I was running late, that's why.
Oh shit, you better hold him, hold that little
Hold him.
asshole. No, but no, I feel like people are dumb. People are opposed to things they don't understand, like you mentioned. And when it comes to being gay, I mean, like, you can't actually understand unless you are gay, right? I can empathize as many times as I want to, but I'm never gonna know the discrimination of like not being able to hold my loved one's hand walking down the street.
Yeah.
Like, even in places that are open and safe, like let's say, the beach. If you were to have a beach day with your boyfriend, if you had a boyfriend, how many things would it's looks and stares and all that? I mean, that's not cool, man.
Yeah, and I still if I when I had a boyfriend, when we would go to certain areas, like maybe it wasn't like Hillcrest, it wasn't in like our gay bubble, and I would still kind of be fearful, like I don't know, like
Something
kind of
you would say
watch
something.
yeah, because you still have that, I don't want to have a confrontation like that, but at the same time, it's like, no, I should be able to do this. This is my boyfriend, and I want to hold his hand on the street. I should be able to hold his hand on the street. It's not a big deal.
Yeah, which is crazy that it's 2019 and
people still have an issue with that.
Exactly. Or like kissing in public or stuff like that. I like saw this meme the other day and I was in tears, right? But it said something like, straight men, being gay makes me sick, all this stuff. But then if you check their like, web history, it's like 2 lesbians lesbianing, and it's like, come on, you can't fucking have both.
Pick and choose.
Yeah, whatever. Everybody uses it to their advantage, disadvantage, but yeah, that's just strange.
What?
I just had an idea, and then
What's your idea?
You have a question?
I think we should get out of here. No.
What's your advice to somebody that is on the bubble, like as far as accepting a gay?
Being accepted?
No, just accepting a gay.
Or they
person.
don't know if they. I probably hang out with someone that's gay for one day.
Meet a gay.
Meet a gay.
Adopt a gay for the day.
No, I mean, like, I think maybe that's the thing is, like, I think one of the biggest things that helps with that is when someone in your family kind of comes out, and I think that kind of more than anything changes people's hearts and minds, because they're looking at someone that's someone they're who's their family, who they love, and I think